Yeah, okay. Let me. That's my sponsor, by the way, Armlifting Grease. I had to say it. I'm sorry. It's grip stuff, grip tools, and see the hubs behind me.
Yeah.
They make those. I'm just telling you. I'm just letting you know. I'm not forced to do this, but he's a bro of mine. He's a great guy, so I'm doing this for him. So you want to start singing your praises, and then we'll get to the interview, or
Say that again?
you want me to start singing your praises first, and then we get to the questions?
Sure, sure.
All right, all right. All right. So we got what I got so far, and please correct me if I'm wrong on any of that stuff. Three times Pan American champion.
Mhm.
Nice. Four times silver medalist, Pan American, second place.
Uh, yes, four
All
times.
right.
Yep.
Five times national champion.
Uh, six times, actually.
We didn't. This thing is not starting well, is it? For me, though. For me,
That's
six
that's all
times.
right. That's all right.
Wow, that's crazy. That, I mean, that's a lot of stuff. I got
Yeah.
ninth place in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics with 173 kilogram snatch and 217 kilograms clean and jerk, a 390 kg total.
Yep.
All right. I have, and I need your help with this one. I found this stuff online. I can imagine, like different forums, YouTube videos, and some other stuff online. I cannot remember which website it was, but it says best. Oh, Wikipedia as well. Best lifts are a 186 kilogram snatch for 110 pounds.
Mhm.
Nice, dude. That's pretty hard. And a 230 kilograms clean and jerk, which is 505 pounds.
Yeah. 506 or 7 is usually what they're rounded up to. But yeah,
Oh,
230.
I see. 230. Okay. And this happened at the 2015 USA Weightlifting Nationals, correct?
Mhm.
2015. 416 kilo total. And I think I'm done with the questions. That's a 416, right?
Yep. Yep.
Is that, because I actually circled this one. If you can help me clarify, is this the best total you ever managed in competition?
Yeah, that's my best competition total. Best total ever.
Official, yeah.
I usually, yeah, even in train, like I know a lot of people will have like higher training totals. I was usually pretty bad in training, so
Well, this
I
is one of the
always.
questions actually. So.
Okay, okay,
Not
yeah.
how bad you were in training, but if you ever, because like you said, this happens in powerlifting as well. A lot of guys hit crazy numbers in the gym, and when it comes time for the contest, they're like, "Oh, I'm freaking out. There's not enough time to recover, especially for us heavier guys." And I'm like, "What did you do?" It's
Yeah,
like, "Really? What happened?" But like you said, I am the same. I always try to get my best numbers in competition.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm geeking out already. It's too early for this. Okay, and that's the last praise I got. The snatch, which is actually online, the 186 kilo snatch, looked like pillows. Unfortunately, I cannot find a clip of the clean and jerk, the 506, 507. I couldn't find that online.
Uh, there. I want to say maybe hook grip. Let me let me see if I can. Uh,
Do you have it?
if let me see, he might have had it. I don't know if it's on YouTube, but he might have had it
I
on
couldn't find it on the YouTube.
Instagram.
Oh, dude, I
Um,
didn't look on Instagram. I should have thought about that.
yeah, there is one video on YouTube if I remember right. I think it's a little like because it's I have it here. It's my second attempt and then my last attempt at 223 and then 230.
Okay.
But it's from the live stream and it's all cut off and jagged, like it jumps a lot, lags a lot.
I see.
So it's not a good.
I know what you mean. It looks like you're moving like you're spazzing as you're.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Um,
do you have
but I,
do you have that clip? 230. As in, could you possibly send it so I can or I can find it on your Instagram, right?
I'd have to find it on my Instagram.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not. I think it's from the side, and I don't remember if it's all caught on frame because of the square framing of it all. But
I understand. Yeah,
I can. Yeah, I can try to find it. And
I can use
to
screen
you,
recorder, then rotate it and keep it because I'm a dweeb about that stuff. Dweeb, absolute dweeb, I swear. Okay, you wanna okay, so and the last one is you're the eighth American to total 400 kilograms or more in competition.
I believe that's true. I'm not exactly sure
Yeah.
on being the eighth, but I think eighth is around what.
That's pretty serious, though. That's pretty. You must have been very pleased when that happened.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Like in the U.S., like a 400 total is a big deal. Like
it is. It is. I think. Well, I mean, aside from the, this is what people. I thought we were gonna get into this like in the middle of the conversation, but it's still a conversation. I don't think people understand what a 400 kilogram on with two lifts is. I don't think they can appreciate it until they try to like a snatch at 60 kilograms. They're like, oh shit, that's not as. It's. I'm speaking for myself because I've been doing that for a couple of years, experimenting. I'm not. I would be ashamed to say I'm a weightlifter, but I understand the mechanics. I'm a strength coach. Westside Barbell, by the way. I'm a. I'm in love with the conjugate method. And I use a lot of exercises, a lot of different exercises. So I take nothing lightly, for real. Like I could ask a golfer, like, what do you do for shoulder rotation? Or I take everything as as detailed as I can. So when I see you guys lifting these weights, I'm like, dude, that is not easy. 186 kilogram snatch is crazy heavy. I mean, it's you should be very proud, dude. Be proud.
Thank you.
Okay, want to get to the questions? I hand rolled them. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Going old school.
Because I'm using the damn phone. The questions are in there. I'm like, well, let me hang up on you and come back to you. I'll be like, okay. First of all, happy birthday. It was like 3 weeks later. I know it was 3 weeks ago, but it took us a while to schedule the interview, so I just wanted to say happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah.
That wasn't much of a question, was it, though? Seriously.
No, 37's a great year so far, though.
37 is 37 years old. You still got it, dude.
Yeah.
Not a gray hair. You don't dye your hair, do you? Seriously.
No, I don't dye it. I think it's just the video quality. If you zoomed in, like if there'd be a couple
that's
grays.
why I look so gray because I'm so close to the camera. See? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
A nice save. I like it. All right, let's get to your past. Second question is your dad, Chris. I hope I got that right. A middle school football coach implemented the Olympic lifts for his athletes, including yourself. Is this true?
Yeah, so he was a middle school football coach for my school, and shortly after that, kind of got hired as the strength conditioning coach for the middle school, high school football team, and basically when it came to that point, he was kind of finding ways to boost the program some.
Yeah.
And he rediscovered the Olympic lifts. Like he dabbled in the lifts when he was younger. Never competed, but so he kind of like rediscovered them and started coaching and teaching us. We did some local meets in conjunction with football. And yeah, a couple years later, I decided to focus on weightlifting instead of football. So
he must have been a good coach because you gotta be smart. You gotta look around for to bring in the best stuff, the best techniques.
Yeah, he's always prior to coaching weightlifting and being the strength and conditioning coach, he was coaching us with football, like rec league and in middle school and all. And he always, like, one thing I always remember about him coaching us is he always has like the eye for it.
Yeah.
Like you were talking about a little bit, like just seeing any athlete in any movement, he could.
I get it.
Like, yeah, coaching. He would coach tennis players, and he doesn't have any experience with tennis, and would just be like, would know like just watching, just because of athletic movements, like
Exactly.
a lot of similarity. Just being like, hey, use your hips a little bit more, that sort of thing. So he's always had that eye for it, which lent itself to something as technical as the Olympic lifts.
That's awesome to get a start like that. To have a dad like that would be nice. To be trained by your father, it must have been awesome. Did it put like stress, pressure on you? Did it put stress on you? Like, oh, I gotta show up for my father,
uh, probably at times. I'm sure like a lot of like there aren't a lot of athletes that are coached by their dad that have that like athlete coach and father son relationship, but I'm sure that people who have had that, like, there's ups and downs for that,
Yeah, for sure.
But he always made it good, especially at the beginning. It was a lot about just enjoying it and like, we want to do well at it, but it's also just like enjoying the sport and everything. So, yeah, he was always good. I have 3 other brothers, and they all lifted at some point too. So
this one was coming. I swear, like third.
Oh yeah,
it's next.
But,
it's coming up.
Okay, I'll slow down then.
That's what, you can tell me about your brothers. I'll just delete it. Delete
cool. Yeah, we all kind of got started around the same time. My youngest brother, like when we really got our start, I was probably 11, turning 12.
Yeah.
And my little brother Cord he was probably 8 or 9. So when he started Olympic lifting, he just started doing more of like some general strength training sort of stuff. Like he was always in the corner just doing some dumbbell work for a little bit, and then got into the lifts. So, but it was a lot of, having your brothers. Was a lot of friendly camaraderie, where we were all trying to beat each other. But it was also, at the age of 12, like you can only do so much to beat your 15-year-old brother who's bigger than you.
Yeah, 3 years difference at that age is big. It's quite a big difference.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude.
But it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Let's see. Well, that's the 4th one. You started weightlifting at 12. During football practice at 14, you decided. Oh, okay. So at 14, you decided to commit to it full time. What was it that made you transition from football to weightlifting?
Ultimately, it was just a lot of. I was enjoying weightlifting a little bit more. I think I always liked the challenge of like adding that 1 more kilo to your total sort of thing. And because it was so technical, like it's wild that you can have just 2 lifts that you work on for years and you're still working on things.
It's science. It really is.
Yeah. So a lot of it had to do with that. I will be honest. Another part of it was a lot of my friends who were on the football team and weightlifting at the time were stronger than me. So I reasoned in my head. I reasoned like if, they take time off to like work on, to do the football season. Mm-hmm. So if I take that time and I keep training, like I'll catch up to them in no time. It didn't happen that way.
No.
I still, it took me like 3 years still to like catch up to them. It was around like junior, senior year that I was actually like, I think junior year I started to catch up, and then senior year of high school, actually started to beat a couple of them.
Takes a while. I mean, it's genetics too. Some people are just really strong. Some people have to work hard.
Yeah.
Did you rub it in their face when you got to the Olympics? Where you're like, yeah, how does that feel, John?
Nothing like that. Nothing like that. Nothing like that.
No, I'm not. I'm in Tokyo. Where are you at? Oh, I see you're at home.
Yeah.
No, nothing like that. Huh?
Yeah, just maybe some humble bragging. Just like a little. Oh yeah, I'm in Tokyo. Can't make it.
Yeah, must have felt good. Which, can you
Yeah.
imagine? Like, oh, who said that? All right. So yeah, I mean, competition only makes sense. You want to be, as we were children, you always wanted to be like, hey, this guy's beating me, and I want eventually. But not everybody's like that. I think you have to have that competitive fire, which could have started from your dad. And I think it was you got three brothers, or is it three of you in total, or four in total, four kids?
There was four of us all together. Yeah.
Four boys.
Uh, yeah.
Oh
All
man,
boys. No sisters.
dad was a hero, wasn't he?
Yeah. Most people say my mom was a legend,
Yeah, I didn't know
but
if
my dad.
yeah, it's a delicate subject. I would make some people get
Yeah.
divorced, so I was like maybe I should tiptoe around that. Yeah, yeah,
No, they're both they're married and still married.
awesome.
But yeah, my dad was the coach, and my mom was basically the team mom.
Sergeant, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's see. Number five. Did your training change as you got older? What did you do differently in your teens, 20s, and 30s?
So it definitely did change. I think in the teens, a lot of it was just kind of like even though I decided pretty early on that I wanted to focus on Olympic lifting.
Yeah.
Even then, it was still a lot of like just general kind of getting stronger. So it was probably a lot more. Still at that time, it was a lot more varied. Just to get some like general strength training, athleticism, develop more than just explosive strength, conducive just to the Olympic lifts. And I think I was probably around 19 or 20, so like getting into the 20s, that I sat down with my dad, because at the time, like as a youth lifter and as a junior lifter, I was getting on the medal stand, but I wasn't winning championships.
Okay.
And I told my dad, like, I really wanted to start making a focus on that. Like, I'm kind of, at the time, I was tired of just making the podium, and I wanted to get, like, earn a title. And so training became a little more involved, basically just upped a lot of the volume and intensity and focused on getting strong and getting good at the lifts. I typically, like, throughout my entire career, aside from the last quad, throughout my entire career, we did a lot of like just one a day workouts. I know a lot of people will do like 2 a days.
Yeah.
I would just do a longer single workout. So instead of breaking it up into like two, I don't know, usually like 90-minute sessions or something,
Okay.
I would just have like 1, 2.5 or 3 hour long workout. 6 days a week. And
It's a lot of work, though.
there was a point where I was on Team Muscle Driver. Are you familiar with Muscle Driver?
No.
It was an equipment company back in the day, probably like, I think like 2012 through like 2016. They sponsored a team, and I joined it like at the end of it. They ended up going bankrupt. So I was only there for like 9 or 10 months before they shut everything down. But when we were there, my dad was coaching there at the time too, and my little brother was on the team. We were doing we would do 2 a days 3 times a week. So I think I was getting 9 sessions a week total there.
Yeah.
And then after Tokyo, most partially because I was getting a little older and just needed the recovery, and then partially because I was like prioritizing things a little differently.
Yeah.
I went from like 6 days to like 4 or 5 days a week.
Okay.
So that's mostly been how it's changed. A lot of the like a lot of the way I train probably hasn't changed too much over the years. It's just been like the amount of recovery,
Yeah, yeah.
intensity, that sort of thing.
I always wondered because I've been watching Olympic weightlifting since I don't know. I mean, Greece and weightlifting is like go hand in hand. And I remember in the '90s, even when I would watch the bigger guys, because I always admired the bigger guys, the heavier guys, and I would always wonder if even when I was just a kid, I thought, why are they giving them such little time to recover? And seeing a person that's 160 kilograms, you got it 2 minutes, or I'm like, man, that's not enough. And when of course I never weightlifted, I never competed, but I've competed in powerlifting like 22 times, and there have been, especially during the damn squats, which is my favorite exercise. There have been contests where they turned it into a nightmare, and I thought, I'm not getting a PR today. I'd be lucky if I get my second attempt, because it was just like this, like unwrapping my knees, to wrapping my knees again. I literally had no thumbs, like I was done. And then it's time for the deadlift, and I had to switch to like hook grip, and I had no hands left. So, and I'm thinking for
Wow.
you guys, because, well, we'll get to that later, but a squat is a squat. I mean, a clean and jerk is many movements put together. I'm a powerlifter. I should be supporting powerlifting more, but I understand the mechanics, and it's a lot of work to get under that bar as fast as you can. And how do you recover from that when you weigh 300, 350, 400, 285, whatever? You don't. You just don't.
Yeah, it's tough to like, and I mean like right now, you have Lasha,
Oh
and
yeah,
the Georgian Lasha.
yeah, that's
Uh,
unreal. I mean,
Oftentimes, like when he's in his prime, he's like so far ahead of everyone else that he is following himself, and he's
yeah,
probably, I think he weighs about 400 pounds.
he does. I think
Um,
that his lightest was like
uh,
167 kg, 170. That's the lightest,
yeah,
which is, I
yeah.
mean, that doesn't even make sense. Yeah, yeah, he's what, six
um,
four at least, right? 6'4".
yeah, I think I've heard 6'6". I don't think he's quite that tall.
Yeah,
I
maybe
think
in
he's
the
six
Olympic
four.
shoes, probably. Yeah, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
In the
Um,
heels, yeah, but that's big. I mean, it's still
yeah.
takes time, and I think this another thing about Lush. I wanted to put an asterisk there. It's because he took the sport so high. He took everything so high that then you get like you see the guys like Martirosyan, or again, my brain is frozen right now, but you see like a 440 total, 430 total, like, yeah, he got third place. I'm like, oh dude, this is inhumane. Like, this is unreal numbers. He just is that
Yeah.
good, that makes everybody else
Yeah.
seem like, to the person that doesn't train, obviously, because if you train,
Yeah.
it's just crazy numbers.
I think. Yeah. I think before Lasha, um, like a 460 total would have been like good enough for gold.
Yes.
And you have Gore,
Minasian.
who lives for Bahrain. Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's just amazing.
And he's consistently hitting like 460, 464,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
hitting legit numbers, and no one talks about it because Lasha's
Yeah.
there hitting like bad days, still hitting in the 470s.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
It's
It's crazy.
it's wild the level he's at.
It is. It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
I knew we would geek out, so let's move.
Say what?
I knew we would geek out, I said, about weightlifting, so.
Yeah.
The crazy part is that my YouTube channel focuses mostly on powerlifting. I do some overheads from time to time, and a little bit of strongman. I don't go around saying people I'm a strongman, because I'm not. I've done two static monster contests when I wasn't able to compete in powerlifting because I just moved back to Greece. I was in Iceland for several years. But the thing is that I'm a big fan of weightlifting. I really am. I watch it very, very every 2 days, seriously. So I think, like I told you when we spoke the other day, I think my girl knows more about weightlifting and powerlifting than most people around here. I swear she does. All the names, like, hey, you told me about him. Yeah, yeah, he's not as big, but he's very strong. I was like, yeah, all right. Yes. Mission accomplished.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's see. Well, you kind of answered this one earlier about the training PRs, and did you ever managed to beat your competition numbers in training? But you said you never really maxed out, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I would try to max out, but it was just I think a lot of it comes from how my dad would train us early on. Like he always early on, like before we could know any better about like how strength training really works, he would talk about like we're here to peak for a competition, and he would peak us for a competition.
Yeah, yeah.
But we were always training to uh, do our best there, and oftentimes a lot of our lifters, especially early on, would uh, hit their PRs in competition, and I just always have to be that way. I think adrenaline would just be there,
Yeah.
and I like everything would feel light on a competition platform. So, like the nationals that I hit 416, I think my training bests at the time were 17. It was actually 10 kilos less in each lift. Like I
Seriously.
hit 186, and my best in training was 176.
So it would have been like
And same,
390. What's that now? So 20 kg lighter, huh?
just under 390. Yeah, I
396.
think like 388 or something like
Okay.
that would be the snatch best. And then clean and jerk, I did 230. Leading up to it, the best I had was 220. So
Damn.
I had done 227 in competition, but in training, like just never quite hit the same numbers. Just always felt better in competition.
Yeah, it's. I think it's well, guessing from the way you what you said about your dad. I'm guessing he was utilizing more of a Russian system than a Bulgarian system because the Bulgarians were like killing themselves in training, right?
Yeah, we definitely did a lot more like Russian style periodization, that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like hit 90%, 92.5, and then back down for volume and stuff like that. I'm guessing. I'm not an expert on.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of that. A lot of percentage work, and our heavy days like hitting. Sometimes we could push like to 95% or something.
Yeah, if it felt
And I
good,
did.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. But usually our like heavy days, like 90% was great.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Oh, that's a good one. What was your favorite and worst contest ever, and why, if you can remember?
My favorite and least favorite?
Yeah.
Um, well, to tell the truth, I'll tell you a couple of my favorites. just because when I talk about my favorite, like that nationals that I hit 416 in
That's
2015,
big. Yeah,
but I don't want to be talking about 2015. But that competition was very unique, just because it was in Dallas, Texas, and America's like greatest super heavyweight lifter to have lifted, Shane Hammond.
Yes.
He lived just north of Texas in Oklahoma, so he drove down and was there watching and saying hi to people and everything. So we talked a little bit before I competed, and he was rooting for me and everything. And then after I hit 416, he came back. I think before the competition, I asked him for a picture. And then after the competition, he came to the warm-up room and was like, I got to get a picture with you now, which was just like
awesome,
really nice. Yeah, just a little bit of like a full circle moment, because I grew up watching Shane, and he was like, huge inspiration for me. And so like having that moment with him was really cool. And then I also enjoyed my first national title in 2013. Before then, like at nationals, I would usually like win or do really well in the snatch. But then I just didn't have the legs to match people's clean and jerk. So I'd usually end up like third or fourth after clean and jerks. And basically prior to that nationals in 2013, had a couple breakthroughs in the clean and jerk. I actually hit some all-time PRs in the training room, which, like I said, I rarely ever did that.
Yeah.
So went there like knowing I would have a good snatch, and then also knowing like I'm probably going to surprise a lot of people in the clean and jerk. Ended up having a 6 for 6 day.
Yeah, that's hard.
I remember, yeah, we were being smart about things in the snatch. I was going back and forth with a guy, Shane Meyer, and I think I hit 170 on my second attempt, and he hit 172. So we both went up to 175.
Yeah.
And I was first to go. So, like, logic dictates I should do 175 because he still has to make it.
Yeah.
But I just, and I don't remember why there was significance to 176. I think I just wanted, like, a 6 kilo jump instead of a 5 kilo jump.
Okay.
So, like, as we're like walking out up to the platform,
yeah,
I just kind of go like to my dad. I just say I could go 176, and he's like, "Do you want 176?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do 176." So like he goes and changes the table.
Oh, you can do that at the last moment, huh?
Yeah. So when you have a minute on the clock, I think you have the first 30 seconds to make changes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think it's 30 seconds is the time you have to make those adjustments.
Okay.
So we were the clock had just started, so we had time to make that change. So we go ahead and make that change, and my little brother Cord was in the back room with us, and he remembers seeing it. It kind of shook my competitor up a little bit, and he had to go out and do 175. He ended up missing 175, and I made the 176.
So you would have been good with 175 too, but you just didn't want to. You didn't like that chance, maybe.
Yeah, because like I said, it would have been smart to just stick at the 175. I think most coaches would have said stick at 175. Yeah. I was the lighter athlete, and back then ties went to body weight.
So you would have gotten it anyway.
So if we both hit 175, I'd be in the lead.
Yeah.
Eventually. So going to 176 was not a smart idea at all, but it was just one of those things where you just have those days where you're feeling confident, so you're just like, I can hit it, let's do it.
Once in a while.
Yeah, and so that was a really good day because of that. Yeah. And then clean and jerks, I went 3 for 3 there and hit a big PR. I think I hit 216 that day. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. My first title. Probably right after that, I didn't realize it at the time, but that also qualified me for my first senior world championship.
Okay.
So I went to Poland that year I think it was 3 or 4 months after. And I would say that's probably one of my worst experiences lifting wise. I basically hit that super high at the nationals.
Yeah. And
just put way too much pressure on myself, and I kind of just tanked for training the next few months. And I hit a total at Worlds, but it was just hit my opening attempts. I didn't feel good. Afterwards, I'm am I even cut out for this? Was this a fluke sort of thing?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it was a bad experience, but I think it was a necessary experience because I learned a lot from it. It kind of made me realize I probably needed to work on my mental game a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't really up to that point. So, since working on my mental game, like even on bad experiences, I can take the good from it and everything. So, yeah.
We learn from our losses. Is that what they say?
Yeah. I learned a lot that day.
I've had a couple of meets where I was like, damn, I'm killing it, and then 3 months, 4 months, 6 months later, I was like, and the other thing is, I don't want to turn this conversation about me, but the last two meets I had was my best preps ever, best, like strongest in the presses, strongest in the deadlift, and pretty strong in the squat, and I just sucked. I was like, what happened? What is it? What is this? What's happening? You know, it's like, is this really? And then you go back to training like 10, because I rested for a week, and I was stronger again. I swear. I was like, oh, come on, you know, this isn't happening. And the funny part is that people come tapping in the shoulder, like, hey, good job. And I'm like, I'm thinking about just cracking them in the jaw. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Well, I understand, I really do, because there's camaraderie, but I sucked. Like, everything was, like, my total was down like 40 kg. I'm like, and I wanted to be like, what do you mean, good job? This is terrible.
Yeah.
But, you know, you
Yeah,
have days like that too.
That's very frustrating when like, when you have good prep, but it doesn't pan out on the stage. I'll say for that first Worlds, training was not good leading up to it.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I think it was just like, I think I was doubting myself a lot. Like after that win, like I hadn't really done that before, so I think I was telling myself a lot, like that it was maybe a fluke sort of thing. And
I see.
when you start doubting yourself like that, it's kind of that self-fulfilling prophecy of
Confidence goes down. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Let me connect my phone real quick to the charger.
Sure.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, because the percentage appears, and I'm like, yeah, it's not gonna go away if I don't swipe it. So. Yeah, I swipe it. Okay, let's see. All right. Here's another geeky one. It says, you have a unique approach. My letters are terrible. With a very wide grip in the jerk, very shallow dip as well. Is this so you can shorten the range of motion? In an interview, you said, I think it was a video interview, not or a written one. I can't remember. Was it online? You said it used to be narrower, but eventually changed. And I saw you get under the bar and you stand up, and your hands are like here. And I'm like, how's he doing that? Not the snatch, but the clean and jerk. I'm like, how are you doing this?
So I think the jerk grip has been about the same my entire career. Obviously, when I was like 12, I wouldn't be nearly collar to collar like I am now. But I've always had that wide grip.
Okay.
What did change is that my clean grip used to be the same grip. I used to pull wide and jerk wide on clean and jerks.
I see.
Yeah. So eventually, I think I probably did that for like the first 4 or 5 years lifting.
Okay.
And then eventually, like, got a point where my clean, like, my dad just realized you're not getting enough pulling power out of it. So he was like, let's try to narrow your grip in, and then just keep moving up for jerks, because that always felt comfortable for me. Like, I rarely missed jerks over my career. So he's like, let's not worry about changing that. Let's just worry about getting your clean grip in, and then let's see if we can move it out from there. So I did that, and that helped a lot with my clean.
Okay.
But yeah, the jerk definitely, like the shorter dip, wider grip, definitely cuts that distance, and I think that's one reason it helps. But that's just kind of like, that's just sort of how I learned how to do it, and that's what felt comfortable for me. And
worked for you.
Like I said, jerks were never a huge problem for me. Like maybe occasionally I had a couple times where I had to tweak a thing or two, but for the most part, it was never really a problem. So we never tried to do things differently.
Okay. I know. I'm guessing the reason why he told you to have a narrow grip in the pull was so you can bend the bar a little more, you can catch it a little higher. Is that, I'm guessing, I'm not, you know.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. With the wider grip,
Mm.
it's almost like a snatch pull
It is,
at
yeah.
that point.
There's no bend
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah. And with the snatch pull, like starting off, you're a little more hunched over, like
Yeah.
the chest is more towards the ground, so it's a little harder to get like the same amount of pulling power that you would for a clean. So yeah, with the clean, like that narrower grip allowed me to be a little more upright and get my leg drive involved a little bit more um, for that.
Awesome. I love talking about that stuff. Let's moving on. Okay, you've been training athletes for some time. Is it your next career path? Something you'll do until retirement?
Uh, yeah, I've been coaching. Honestly, probably probably along with lifting. Like
Mm.
obviously not when I was 12, but uh, probably, I've probably been coaching to some degree since like 2007, 2008.
Okay,
Um,
that far back, huh?
yeah, yeah. My family had a CrossFit gym for several years,
Oh, I
so I
see.
would actually I'd coach some lifters there, but I also like coach CrossFit classes for a bit.
Mm.
Um, but I haven't coached CrossFit in probably 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Um, it's mostly been focused on weightlifting at this point. Um, I enjoy coaching people. I don't know if I want to like pursue it, trying to get people to like international competitions. Right now, I coach at a gym, Charlotte Strength,
Mm.
um, and there's a lot of competitive athletes that are nationally competitive, trying to make international teams and
Mm.
everything. Um, I there are also a lot of like just people that are new, beginning, or just kind of doing it for fun. Uh, and I coach on the floor a lot and just help people like with technical cues, uh, keep things positive, that sort of thing.
Mm.
Right now, I feel like that's more of what I like to do and want to do. Um, Maybe down the road, uh, I might want to get a little more involved in coaching, but for right now, this it's more of just something I enjoy and kind of keeps me involved in the community and everything.
That's awesome, dude. You still train, right? Or not as often, or
Yeah, I mean, so just we just wrapped up the quad leading to the Paris Olympics,
24? Oh
and
yeah, shit, 4 years.
yeah, yeah, it actually I think the lifting starts in just a few days. Um,
Okay.
so, but since the quad ended, I've been training like I've probably been training like 2 or 3 times a week, just taking some like mental and physical rest.
Oh, you're
That was
enjoying
pretty.
yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Taking a little bit of time off, not focusing on any program necessarily, just
Yeah.
kind of getting healthy, trying to lose a little bit of weight, being unsuccessful at losing weight. uh, you
uh,
know, um, but yeah, right now I'm not training as much. I think like I'm probably at a point where I may like whether I want to or not, I may not compete internationally, just because we have some big people in America that are hitting some big numbers, and I'm getting older. um, so I don't know if I can keep up with them at this point.
okay.
But I don't think even if I'm like retired or not competing internationally, um, I think I'll still be training. And if I qualify for national events and stuff, I think I'll still make it to those if they're nearby enough and
Yeah, I
things
understand.
like that.
You want to stay close
Yeah,
to the
I think
sport.
weightlifting's always yeah weightlifting's always going to be a part of my life, but just how it is will probably change over the years.
Epic. All right. Next question is, how was it? I guess I meant, how did it feel? Qualifier for the Olympics in 2020. How did that feel?
Oh, that felt pretty good.
Uh,
I think for me in particular, because like I think a lot of weightlifters or athletes in general,
mm,
they train years to make it to that level.
oh yeah.
Like, but I'd say for most of those people, it's like 10, 12 years. And for me, it was like double that time. It was
Yeah.
20, ended up being 21 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, it was huge at that.
Absolutely.
Just to finally get to that level. It was a lot. I mean, with the addition of like, that was also the year, during the pandemic and everything. So there being that year delay, postponement,
Yeah.
really set, not just me, but a lot of people were uncertain. Like, what if it gets canceled? That
Yeah.
sort of thing. So like, being able to like still go through it and everything was huge, and getting my chance on the platform was a big deal. And yeah, like it was funny. Like in Tokyo, my dad came with me, so he was coaching me in the back. We also had our other two coaches, Mike Catone and Piros was back there with us. Piros Dimas.
Piers was. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, we
Yeah.
got a lot to about this guy. This will never end. I know. It will never end. I gotta remind you, I'm a powerlifter, though, right? I'm not. I shouldn't be talking to. Yeah, no, I'm a huge fan. I told you in the beginning.
Yeah.
Let me fix that a little bit.
But with my dad, like before the competition, like as I'm warming up and stuff, he's getting emotional and like getting choked up because it's such a big deal for us to
It is a big deal.
have made it.
Yeah.
So he's getting choked up at the beginning, and like the moment I attempted my last clean and jerk, I missed my last clean and jerk.
Oh,
but the moment I stepped off stage, I just started bawling, just because like all that emotional release from there. Like, yeah, it was a very big deal, and like everyone, like my brothers were reminding me about all the conversations we had early on, like training and stuff, just about like, wouldn't it be cool to make an Olympics or something?
it's big,
like,
dude. I mean, it's big.
Yeah, it's a big deal, especially like I think qualification procedures for it have just gotten more and more difficult as the years go on. Especially the past two quads with them limiting spots for weightlifting. Hopefully that trend changes. Yeah. So yeah, it was a huge deal, and like something, yeah, big time.
It is. I'm sure it was. Let's see. Okay. Next one is: are there any weightlifters that inspired you growing up?
I already mentioned Shane Hammond.
Yeah.
Shane Hammond was big. I think most of the people I looked up to growing up and starting my lifting were probably like just a lot of American lifters that were big at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So like Shane Hammond, obviously.
Yeah.
I think Chad Vaughn I looked up to a lot. Pete Kelly was big at that point too.
I haven't heard of him.
Yeah, I don't remember if Pete made it to an Olympics or not. He might have made it to like 96 Olympics in Atlanta.
Okay.
I don't remember if he did. But he was big in the 105s.
Yeah.
After Shane, Casey Bergner moved up to the supers.
I know Casey, yeah.
He was, yeah. I liked liked watching him lift a lot, and yeah, and then eventually I started learning about American weightlifting history and like big names like Tom Kono and Norm Szymanski and all. And yeah, I know we'll talk about him later, but Piros was a big inspiration just because like when you've accomplished what he's done at the Olympics and everything, like you can't help but admire that.
It's insane what the guy did. It's insane. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, here's one. Okay, this one is a bit weird, but what would you do to improve weightlifting in the United States if you were donated millions of dollars? Like you had the power to make big changes. What are the things you would like to see in the sport?
Yeah. To tell you the truth, like I think the biggest thing, and I don't know if I need millions of dollars for it, but
hundreds of thousands.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that would be good for weightlifting is to, I think, continue to increase awareness, especially like youth lifters.
Yeah.
Because I think with the growth of CrossFit, people are much more aware of weightlifting.
Yeah.
But I still don't see it. Used a lot in like middle school, high school, like programs for sports and things. And I think having those programs in schools more so is gonna help those kids like be more aware of weightlifting.
Yeah.
So like just because I have my history with football, there are a lot of guys who play football and try for college football. Out of those people, like only a few get selected for college ball, and then only a few of those people get selected for the NFL and everything. So there's a lot of like highly athletic people that their careers end at like 20, 22, and they just don't know that weightlifting's there when they could be very, very good at the sport because a lot of football players are powerful athletes.
Oh yeah, they're animals.
So
seriously.
Yeah, so I think I would try to get more programs in schools, just so that kids could like know that there are other sports out there than there. If they don't hit that, if they don't make the NFL, like there's other things they can do and have a lot of fun doing it and travel the world doing it.
Absolutely. I think it is crucial. I mean, you see the big NBA names. You see the athletes in general. You see cyclists. You see wrestlers. Even powerlifters. These days, at least in the last decade, implementing power snatches, muscle cleans, like snatch grip deadlift, which is one of my favorites. And it really, really helps. Getting down lower, down there. You work on the quads. You work on the erectors. Then your squat goes up. I mean, it's magic. It really is, and especially for power and explosion, the box jumps and the Olympic lift variations. I think they're important in practically every sport. I think, or most sports.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like some sort of Olympic lifting, like there's some like maybe with the exception of like long distance running. Like,
sure.
So many sports,
of course,
So many sports though will rely to some degree on like explosive power and hip power, and that's like there's no better way to improve that and strengthen that explosive strength than snatches and clean and jerks.
I absolutely agree. Powerlifting too, though.
I mean, yeah.
Fine, it's his channel, right? We're not going to say no. Yeah, I think these, like the overhead press, the squat, the clean, the jerk, obviously the bench press, the deadlift. The whole planet does that stuff. The whole planet. I mean, they all do. Yeah. For real. I think the football players, like you mentioned, for real, and the wrestlers, like freestyle Greco-Roman wrestlers, I think these people might be like the most complete athletes in the world, really. because they hit every
Yeah.
angle, and then you see them doing like clean and jerks. I'm like, oh, okay, what the hell? Very powerful. It really is impressive, like the level of
Hmm.
athleticism and power these people have, which I don't, but anyway, that's why I sighed anyway. Um, Here's a good one. Knowing what you know now, what would you do different in your training as a beginner?
Uh, that's tough. Just because I think um, I think a lot of what I know now comes from like what I did back then, and like we said earlier, like learning from those failures and mistakes.
Yeah,
Um, so I think a lot of what I did, you know, not that not that I was ever like lazy with training or anything like that, because I feel like that would be the sort of thing I would tell myself is like keep at it, you know.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but I had some. I guess like probably the big thing is being allowing myself to be a little more patient about things.
mm,
I remember very early on, like I said, when I tried to, I was trying to beat my friends on the football team,
yeah,
beat their lift, and it just wasn't happening, you know, for years. Um, I think allowing myself that like it's okay, just keep plugging at it.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I think at this point, like with everything I've done in my career, uh, it's very easy. Like I think if I knew where the end point was going to be,
Yeah,
it'd be a lot easier to go through those like rough days or rough patches of training and everything,
I get it.
um, knowing what the end result would be.
So more of a mental, I guess you would like to be more mentally conditioned than actually changing your programs from the early stages throughout your career. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. Like I think it's less about yeah, for improving. I think it'd be more about the mental side of things. Just giving myself a little bit more grace and patience at that time. Um, Training wise, like I'm sure there are little things you could tweak and everything.
Mm,
Um, like technique wise, would have loved to uh, correct my clean a little earlier in my career.
okay.
I used to. I mean, to some degree, I still kind of do it, but it's just with a lot heavier weight.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
um, but I, I'm uh, I'm notorious for letting the bar crash on me on cleans. Um,
Oh, I see.
like it's basically I'm just pulling the heck out of it,
Yeah.
and I'm pulling so hard that like I just end up trying to drop under it, and instead of meeting the bar,
I get it.
I just hit rock bottom in the bar. Yeah. Um, and I have gotten much better at that. It's still something that happens. Um, and I think it's less of the bar crashing on me now and more of I'm just used to waiting for the bar to hit
I
me.
get it. I get it.
So like I don't try to catch, when the weight gets to a certain point, I don't really I think instinctually I'm not thinking about like trying to catch a bounce. I'm just waiting for the bar to settle and then standing up with it. Um, so I think early on, like a little more technical work on that, trying to
Right.
correct that a little sooner
Yeah. Yeah.
rather than later. That'd be big.
So essentially you're saying that you were not exploiting like the first or second bounce, right? As you're squatting down with a bar, right? That's what I'm trying to figure out
Yeah,
what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah. A lot of like lifters will catch that bounce, like you know, catch the clean and immediately bounce right out of it.
Yeah.
Usually for me, I catch it, I sit at the bottom for a second or two, and then I
Yeah.
stand up with it. Like I have the legs for that not to be an issue,
I
but
get it.
yeah, like being able to time that a little better would have been great early on.
I get it. Let's see. Ooh, here's another geeky one. They're all geeky, aren't they? Um, okay. Aside from the two main lifts, what variations would you recommend to powerlifters? Whoops, I said powerlifting, and I kicked my stand. For reference, I use the power and muscle snatch, snatch to full squat. These are the ones that I try to practice. Snatch, grip, deadlift, and muscle clean. These are the ones that I try to implement as much as I can. What other
Mhm.
movements would you recommend?
Um, I think if I would imagine for most powerlifters that are trying to get into Olympic lifting, um, a lot of it is going to be working on the technique,
Mm.
and probably in lots of cases too, developing more mobility, especially for like an overhead squat.
Oh my god, it is not easy, dude. It's not easy.
Yeah.
The clean. Wait, was it the jerk and like a jerk and a full squat is a nightmare. I
Hmm.
cannot do it. I can't.
Yeah.
It's
That's
hard.
tough. Like I barely do
The
it.
shoulder rotation is like because in the snatch, obviously, I mean you know like 100 times better than I do, but in the snatch at least they're like your arms are so open that you can kind of get away with it in the snatch, kind of, which is still
Yeah.
not easy. But the clean and jerk, oh my god,
Mhm.
it's just no. They
Yeah.
don't cooperate.
Yeah. Um, so I think um, what powerlifters in general could maybe benefit from would be something like I like snatch balances and snatch drops. Um,
I'm actually writing this.
just taking the
Uh huh. Uh huh. Okay. Light snatch balances. Or I could watch
um,
this when we're done tomorrow and maybe take notes then. Fine, I'll put it down. But I'm keeping notes in
um,
here.
yeah, yeah. So your workout tomorrow is no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, snatch balances are great. What I like about those is that kind of builds confidence in getting underweight in the snatch, um, and also helps like it's not as demanding as like doing a full snatch.
Yeah.
Um, so it's a good kind of like primer to kind of work on your mobility in that overhead position, and also work on speed, getting under the catching the bar in an overhead squat and all.
Yeah.
Along with that, I like these are challenging dead hang snatches, or
Oh my
they're
god.
often called top snatches.
I know them. I know. I've read quite a few books about Olympic training from like the old Russians and stuff. I've read quite a
Yeah.
few, and I've studied. I mean, nah, I don't want to interrupt you. Go on. I've read a
But
lot about weightlifting,
yeah, with,
a lot of books really, and Angel Spazov, the Bulgarian. Like, there's a lot of articles from him. I don't know if you know him. I'm sure you do. But I am because of Louis Simmons, West Side Barbell. He dug out a lot of knowledge from the Russians, from the Soviets at the time. So whether I liked it or not, I started studying the Russians because of Louis. So in the last 8 years, I mean, a lot of they're fucking brilliant. They really are brilliant, amazing.
yeah, um, yeah. So the dead hang, like I use it a lot, um, just to focus on my speed under the bar.
Yeah,
We use it a lot in my warm ups, and again, it works on the same thing about like being fast under the bar
yeah.
and getting comfortable with like just pulling yourself underweight quick. Um, when I usually when I'm teaching someone for the first time, like we have to start with just an empty bar, and which is wild if there's a power lifter with a 600-pound squat
Yeah.
that like have to start with a bar just to
I
get used
have
to
a
the
competition. My best squat is 550, and I did it at 42. I did it last year. That's my best competition squat. And when I started implementing the snatch, like a muscle or power snatch, and then I tried to squat down, which I managed to do this year for the first time. I did it with a broomstick. I'm not kidding at all. No 20-kilo bar. above my head because it was
Yeah.
so, my shoulders were so tight, and I'm not lacking mobility. Like if I'm doing overheads, I have nice form. I'm not like, it's not like here. I can push it all the way back, but dude, I mean,
Mhm.
bring it up here and squat down. It was chaos for me. It took me like 3 weeks. I eventually, because my girl
Yeah.
films my videos, I'm like, I don't care if I hurt myself. I got like 50 kilo on it, so I'm going down with it, and it's
Mhm.
it's it's so beautiful. When I was down there, I was like, man, this is nice. Painful, but very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so those would probably be like two exercises I would recommend if you're a power lifter and you're just new to Olympic lifting.
Yeah,
Like, truth be told, just about anything's going to like help with that. Any like hangs, block work,
oh yeah,
pulls, like all of that, all of that's going to get you better. Like it's mostly repetition is what you'll need. But a couple of things like I think the two biggest things would be the mobility and getting comfortable with like moving underweight.
yeah.
So
There's
like
no, I mean, the wrist is okay.
yeah,
Look at the fingers. I'm not making this up. There's nothing, dude.
yeah,
Nothing. My wrists are okay, but I mean,
mhm,
zero. I cannot put the bar. I cannot do this. It's so painful.
yeah.
Why is it so painful though? It could
um,
be from all the benching. I'm guessing.
it could be, could be. I've coached quite a few people that have similar things. Like you're usually looking for how the wrists are, and then you notice like yeah, they're only getting like here with their
How
fingers,
far do your
and
fingers
that
go? I'm just curious.
you go back.
That is
They're
pretty.
pretty.
That's pretty good. What the hell, man?
I try, you know.
I thought you were retired. Yeah, that's pretty good. I
I
cannot do
tried.
that. There's no way.
Mm,
I'll just stick to deadlifts. Fine, I
so
got it. Screw this nonsense. Wait.
I believe in you, Terry. You can do this.
Yes. Bullshit. Let me just get to the next one. All right, let's see. Um, is that a question or am I just talking about myself here? It's a little bit of both. All right. As a strength, yes, seriously, like what the fuck. But anyway, I believe that weightlifting is very speed oriented. In order to demonstrate your strength, you have to be explosive first. Would you agree? And if not, please elaborate.
Yeah, I think typically we'll talk about weightlifting being uh, typically like you need to be strong, but you also need to be technical, and that technique comes from speed, but also timing.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I think yeah, like what I what I like about weightlifting is that you have to balance like the aggressiveness of just being strong with like you kind of have to be mindful of how you're moving too. So
Yes.
you can't just like you can't just do the like grip it and rip it sort of thing
I knew
that a
that was
lot of people
coming, I
want to
swear.
do.
I swear to you,
uh,
I thought he's gonna say rip and grip. I know. Yeah.
so yeah, like you people can do that, but at a certain point, like you have to be mindful of like where your positions are to get the most power and height from the bar
Yeah.
um, to get under the most weight you can. So I like that there's a dynamic between the two.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's definitely like you need the speed and you need the technique. Um, you also need the strength, and it like a lot of coaches will kind of factor in like, okay, if you're strong, let's work on your technique. Okay, if you're technical, but you can't stand up with your snatches,
Mm.
like we need to work on your legs. So it's a lot of balance between a lot of different things. But yeah, definitely like I think when you compare it to other strength sports, like there's a lot of speed involved. I'd agree.
Feeds my ego. Anyway, next one is. Yeah, I just had to. I'm just fucking around. Okay. Oh well, that's kind of like a selfish question, but it's my fucking podcast, right? Anyway, any tips for For wrist flexibility, I'm having a very hard time, like I told you 2 minutes ago, bending my wrists all the way back during the cleans. I'm not gonna show that again. It hurts all the way down here. It's like it's bad. Are there any? I've seen the guys go under like a empty rack, or maybe like a plate on,
Mhm.
and they do those like soft rotations left and right. I
Yeah.
haven't stolen that one, but aside from
Uh,
this one, like maybe wall presses. I don't know what to say it like softly. I don't want to break my fingers, but very gently I'm pressing against my fingers, but it's not really working. I'll be honest with you.
yeah. I think like getting your fingers to like stretch and loosen up. That's tough. Um, Usually, like the wall rides is what I call them, when you just sort of place your wrist up against the wall
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of. I usually explain it like riding it up until you get to like a very good stretch. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then just holding it there for like 30 seconds at a time.
30 seconds. Okay,
Um,
I haven't done that. That's for sure.
yeah. The long, like, yeah, that's the other, like, typically for stretching, like, the longer, the better, usually. I would say at least 30 seconds, but you could even do it for a minute just to uh, feel that. But I'll do those wall rides. I have had people, do the rack thing.
Yeah, with the straps on
Usually,
and
if I'm
stuff,
doing
or
it,
just
I'll just do it with a barbell, like try to grab it there,
yeah,
and then uh, usually I'll load the bar something where it's not going to like easily come off
yeah.
off the rack. And sometimes I'll also like just have an empty bar, and I'll have someone kind of like torque up my
That's
my
right.
elbows some,
Yeah, yeah.
just to get more of a stretch. The other thing I've done is a back squat position,
Mm.
and then trying to torque my elbows up to try to. I think that'll get less of your wrists and more of like your shoulders and lats.
Rotation. Yeah, yeah. I get it.
But that's a good one too to help with just getting everything loosened up for your rack position. Those are the things I would usually recommend.
That's pretty good because I'm also having huge trouble getting under the bar in the squat. Huge. I mean, we get to the contest and we're using the 25 kilo bar, and even then I'm all the way out. And in this contest in June, I forced myself. I literally had to like drag my hand and bring it just maybe 4 or 5 inches in away from the collars. It's so painful to me that imagine in the gym that I'm in right now in the last 5 years. It's a very poorly equipped. It's a fitness gym. Like there's nobody deadlifting. There's nobody doing overheads with a log, or there's no log presses or stone carries, and everybody's looking at them like what the hell is that guy doing? So I squat in a Smith machine, which is it's killing me on the inside. I've been squatting in the Smith machine for 5.5 years, and it's killing me. Like I cry on the inside every time. At the same time, I got decent PR since I got back with no equipment for real. Like this is absolute bullshit. But because I'm a dweeb and I do research the Russians, I do research the Bulgarians, and I mean not just powerlifting but weightlifting as well, because I implemented all these movements, so I don't squat every week. I do goblet squats, I do Zercher squats. I'll do anything that I can to get stronger, like quads, hamstrings. I break it down, of course, accessory work and stuff. I'm not just feeding my ego right now. I think we're having a great conversation about powerlifters and weightlifters, like people who may have mobility problems or limited gear. And I'm having a huge problem with a fucking Smith machine. It's killing me. Like I'm talking about nearly permanent damage. If I squat every week, my hands are just like I squat. Oh, I don't have a bar here. I don't have a bar in my house. What's wrong? But yeah, I don't have one. I have the Olympic dumbbells, but they're in the car. But I'm sorry. Bear with me.
Right.
I got some rebar though. How do you explain that? so I don't go. So I don't go like this. I will literally go like this. I think, and all the way out to the collars. That's how I hold the bar. And
Wow.
the guy, Icelandic guy, like a A very powerful guy. Under 100 kilograms, he squatted like 325 single ply. So I mean, he's very strong. And he saw me struggling in
Wow.
2015. He was my bench coach at the time. He was benching my upper body, benching my upper body. Well, I'm sure he could, but he was coaching my upper body. And he said, "Why don't you do like this and eventually go like this?" And I have actually done this. It's been so painful that I'm like, how the hell am I gonna squat? To the point where I
Wow.
was seeing Klokov do the straps for like front squats and stuff, and I stole that shit. I'm like, because I need to exercise.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to get to is
Yeah.
that if you can imagine, like my fat ass is like 295, 300, and I can squat all the way down. I can do white stance. I can do super low box squat, like for real. My butthole's like scraping the floor. I can go really low, and I have no damn
Mhm.
wrist mobility. It's crazy. Nothing.
Yeah. That's wild. Um,
Tears coming
yeah.
out.
The
Let me put my rebar back in there. Before I interrupt you again, I got two. I don't know why. I love them. I just keep them. I don't know. That was good. But yeah, that was my cry out for help because I'm gonna try the stuff you told me because the snatch variations, well, not all of them. I'm not pretending, but three or four of them I can do, and I'm pretty happy with them. Like, oh yeah, I can do a full squat after that, and it's great. The clean and jerk, I cannot practice it because once I bring it up, I'm like here, which is lame. I cannot rest it on my clavicle, and of course I can never get. I would never. I will never be able to put a lot of weight on me if it's resting on my. It's not like a strongman, like a strict press, which I'm pretty good at them, but I suck at the clean. So I'm just not good at.
Mhm. Mhm.
I managed to
Yeah.
do
I think.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I
Yeah.
managed to do a muscle clean with 100 kg for the first time in my life, like a month ago, 6 weeks ago. I've done the continental
Mhm.
clean and press, like the strongman stuff. I've done up to like 115 kg for a double, with
Mhm.
a power bar on my belt, and I mean, but that was in 2021. But I had never done like a pure straight line, no contact with my body, hips, belly. It didn't touch anywhere. It just went doop. And I thought I was pretty pleased about it. I'm sure I know it's shit weight, but to me it was like, yeah, explosive, fat but explosive. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was not even a question. I'm just talking to you about myself. All right, but thank you for the tips. I will implement it. I promise.
Yeah. No problem.
We're coming to an end. Are you sad?
Um,
I'm sorry.
I'm terrible. I'm
I
so
can go
mortified.
get a bag and whip up a few more questions. All right, all right. Let's see. I got what's next for you? Life, training, other pursuits. I know you've been painting and writing poems for a while now. Yeah, I've done my research on you, dude. I have.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I think like I said already, I think I'm at a point where I'm definitely gonna shift, like, at least probably away from uh, competition, at least on an international level.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, whether I want to or not, I think that's just how it's panning out.
Yeah, yeah.
um, so yeah, I'll keep training, but yeah, gonna try to do some things outside of the gym a little bit more. Like you said, I do some writing and artwork, um, with a lot of the probably the last almost 10 years or so. Basically, uh, how long I've been, like, internationally competitive and everything.
Mm.
The main focus has been weightlifting.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
uh, my art and writing kind of took a back seat for a while, but I'm working on, like, getting things set up to where I can do a little bit more, especially the artwork. I think I told you before the podcast. I've gotten a job recently writing
Yeah.
product reviews for garage gym reviews.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I followed them after you told me.
that's been a lot of fun. Yeah. That's been a lot of fun, and gotten to like, it's a good way to kind of combine the two passions I have of like writing and weightlifting and fitness.
That's very
So
clever, actually.
it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to do that since Tokyo, and so yeah, just more of that and doing some artwork on the side and training to stay strong and healthy. So.
I think it was a video interview, I can't remember when it was, 15, 17, where it was on TV, I think. And you demonstrated some of your paintings, if I'm not mistaken, of like people weightlifting and stuff. I think it was really good. And I'm not saying that. I am brutally honest. If I didn't like him, I would have mentioned it, I promise. But I thought they were very interesting. I thought, damn, this guy is good, you know.
Thank you. Yeah. I enjoyed like I've done some like goofy things, but I did do like back in college. I did an entire series on weightlifting. So used a lot of like historical lifters as references. I think I have used like David Reichert and Naeem Suleimanoglu was definitely one of
Pocket
the
Hercules.
things I did. Yeah.
And he was fucking tiny.
So he was. So yeah, just I enjoy that, and I think it's fun because like I think I was talking about the balance between like being aggressive and also being very controlled and like coordinated, and I like trying to like emulate that in the artwork, like, you know, a lot of contrast to show like a lot of strength, a lot of power, but also in a very controlled manner. So,
ideologist, I like it. I've gone through all the stages with myself. I've gone through needing a slap in the back or a slap in the face before I max out or I test whatever I do. I've gone through completely disappearing. Oh, where the hell did he go? And I'm in the next room, just being like, you know, dead on the inside. And now I can just crack jokes. And I like literally before I grab the bar, I just switch it on. That's it. But in regards of approach to the bar and the aggression that you mentioned, but at the same time, to me, brute strength is only gonna get you to some point. I'm not saying there aren't some immensely powerful people out there like a kick in my ass like all day long, but I think if they had a little bit more of a thought process, like if they were more, how do you say that now? Methodical, which is a Greek word, by the way. You're welcome. If they were more methodical, like I want to say, like yourself, and myself, I think they would have gone a lot further. Because they waste so much energy. Yeah, give me. They're like smack. I'm like, you got 8 more attempts. Slow down.
Yeah. There's moments where like I'll do a shout, but it's usually after a last attempt sort of thing, you know.
I've seen those.
When you're like, yeah, I'm done with that. I'm done lifting for the day, so shouting. I can get some energy. Yeah.
Let me see. Let me get to the. Okay, that's the last one actually. Let's see. Is there anything you would like to add, or anything that I forgot to mention? Any links? Any, you know? I know you. I've checked your links before. Anything?
Nothing too much. I'll just hi to my wife because I haven't really mentioned her. I mentioned the rest of the family, so just hi to my wife Emily.
Oh, Emily, I've seen the 1 hour documentary. I saw it like a couple of months ago.
Oh, yeah.
You were just joking and kidding how you met, and I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that.
Yeah, we've been married 5 years, met through weightlifting and all. So she's been great to be like. She's been very supportive of my weightlifting and Olympic journey and everything. So it's been great to have her like last few years. Several years.
Yeah.
As part of,
No Instagram handles. No. Is somebody dying or barking? What's going
Oh,
on?
I mean, you can follow. My dog's barking.
Okay.
You can. I mean, you can follow me on Instagram at the Dragon Wilkes. That's where I'm most active, even though I'm not super active on it.
He does respond
That's
after a
probably the
month,
best
but he does.
thing. Yeah.
Eventually, I thought you were not gonna see it because if we're not connected, it goes to your spam or whatever or unwanted.
Yeah.
And I thought I cannot
That's
believe
what.
this that he will never see this message.
Yeah. It was. That's exactly what happened. Is it went to those like requests or
So
spam.
you just
Uh,
decided to check your spam or
yeah. Like I'll check it every maybe few weeks to a month sort of thing. So I think I noticed it and I was like, okay, take note of that. And then I think it took me another few weeks to go, oh yeah, I need to
yeah
reply
yeah
back.
yeah I get those some stupidity like hot girls and Taiwanese hookers and I'm like oh god
Yeah.
it's painful, it really is painful. So yeah, I was very happy when I was like, wow, he responded, which means we're gonna do it. I can't believe he did this. I'm not, but this is what I told the other guy. I've done a few more, but obviously Magnus for Magnusson, I trained at his gym for 8 years, so he couldn't really say no. He only had one fat hairy Greek in his gym these 8 years. But the thing is that I understand that when you have no idea who that other person is, like who the fuck is that guy now, and the internet is packed with weirdos. It really is like psychos, weirdos, freaks, stalkers. And I thought, man, he might never. I don't think he will respond. But luckily, my profile on Instagram is all about lifting, like bench, squat, deadlift, overheads. It's all about training. So I think it's a good like ID card. As in, okay, he's not a freak, at least not on the outside. I hope.
Yeah.
How did you like the questions that I wrote?
Yeah, I liked them. I liked them a lot. I like some of the, I like some of the more creative ones, like the, what would I do with millions of dollars to help weightlifting in the country? Like, I hadn't been asked that one before, so that was nice. And
There you go.
yeah, just being able, yeah, just being able to talk about where I got my start and everything. I always enjoy that. So yeah.
It was great having you. I think I'm just gonna stop the screen recorder, and we can say our
Okay.
proper private goodbyes. All
All
right.
right.
Well, thank you for doing this with me officially. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Terry. Yeah, I enjoyed doing it.